Hi, I'm Owen. Welcome back to 5465 Podcast. Obviously, we don't have the 5-4 part of it. He's gone, but this episode's just going to be me. We're going to do a little bit of an overview of what we're going to do. We're going to talk about college basketball, and how all of my preseason predictions were right. College football review, pretty crazy weekend. Not really, it was kind of boring. It'll be a short episode, but let's get right to it. We'll start off with some college football. So teams that went down, Oregon to Washington, that was a great game too. Bo Nix did not look good, in my opinion. And Oregon just can't get over that hump. They're always a little bit down here. They're a blue blood. They're recent blue blood. And they're always like in the middle of it all. They're never up here. Then another team went down, Ole Miss and UCLA. UCLA is an upset. I watched that game. Arizona looked really solid. Good offensive game plan. UCLA is just not there. They're not there. And Ole Miss played a great game against Bama. I was impressed. Jackson Dart played really well. Came down to the final seconds of the final play. And I don't think Lane Kiffin got out-coached. I actually think Lane Kiffin out-coached Saban. Just talent overplayed it all. And experience. And Ole Miss players haven't been in this situation before. It's their first year really being relevant, in my opinion. North Carolina's offense again looked great. Drake May, third in the Heisman watch right now, looked awesome. He shined again. And Texas, what a win for TCU. I mean, that offense, the defense is what wowed me. I thought their defense couldn't hold. They held Texas, 3? Quinn Ewers looked disgusting last night. Last night. I'm recording it Sunday. And besides that, Kentucky losing to Vanderbilt. I don't know. Anybody that says that Will Levis is a top 5 quarterback recruit is crazy to me. He's sloppy, not fundamentally sound. I mean, he just is not an NFL quarterback. And if he was smart, I don't know if he can stay another year. I don't pay attention to Will Levis. But I think he needs to have a great combine if he wants to be anything, if he wants to be picked early. I think scouts will realize that. And Heisman watch right now, Stroud at 1. I think Hendon Hooker is my favorite. What he's done at Tennessee, their defense, they just don't like playing defense. Bama scored 50 on them. They still won, but Bama scored 50. And but Stroud's at 1. Hooker, May, Caleb Williams, and then Blake Corum. I think Blake Corum should be a front runner, even though I just said Hooker is my number 1. I think Corum should be 2, but now it's only looked at as the best quarterback on the best team. So Stroud, number 2 team in the country, blowing out everybody, looks great. And Drake May, it's all stats and all numbers. The only reason why North Carolina's not a top 10 team right now is because how much their defense is horrible. They gave up 45 to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's offense can't move at all. They didn't score at all in the second half against Navy and almost lost. Then Caleb Williams. I'm not high on him. I'm not high on USC. I really think USC is just a sad program. Or not sad program, I don't know what I'm saying. They're overrated. That's the word I need to use. Their defense struggles. They don't kill teams that they're supposed to kill. They might sneak into the playoffs this year after that Oregon loss. Oregon might take them down, but we'll see. That all needs to be determined. And then Blake Corum. I've already got on him. He's over 100 rushing yards every game. He's the reason why Michigan's where they are right now. And here's my 2 hot takes. This is going to be a common thing on the podcast, is 2 hot takes for each sport. So we're gonna do a college basketball review. We're gonna have 2 hot takes. So here's the one. I think TCU and Kansas State are going to be in the Big 12 championship, and Kansas State's going to kill TCU. And I think, that's my big prediction. And then 2 SEC teams are going to be in the playoff. and LSU takes down Georgia in the SEC championship. I mean, they're just on a roll. They didn't look pretty against Arkansas, but it was cold. It's a tough place to play, and it's gonna be it's basically a home game for Georgia for the SEC championship, but it's gonna be inside and it won't be cold. I think LSU has a great game, and as much as I hate to say it, Brian Kelly's gonna really succeed. And then here's my championship predictions. SEC championship, LSU Georgia, that's already locked. ACC championship, I got Clemson, North Carolina. North Carolina, I think, can take down Clemson. It just really depends on how good. And it really depends on if North Carolina's defense can kind of step up. I mean, hold Clemson under 30 points type step up. Big 12 championship, I already said TCU, Kansas State. I got Kansas State. And then Big 10 championship, Michigan, Purdue. That's a big one for me. I think Michigan takes down Ohio State at Ohio State, and it'll be nuts. I think Ohio State's defense can't handle that run game, and I think McCarthy really steps up big time. And it'll be tough though. It'll be a great game. And Purdue wins out. They have to play Northwestern and Indiana for the rest of their schedule. They win those 2 games, they're in it. So, and then Pac-12 championship, I got USC and Oregon, and I got Oregon beating USC. That'll be a crazy one. I think Oregon's defense will do a good job with handling Caleb Williams, and I don't think USC can handle Bo Nix anymore. They struggled against Cal, they struggled against Arizona, which Arizona's showing to be an okay team. They're 4-6, but they beat UCLA and they almost beat USC. So there's that. There's my here's the top 25 teams that got taken down though. So Oregon went down. Talked about that. Washington played a great game. Same with Michael Penix. I mean, he's incredible in my opinion. 400 yards against that Oregon defense at Oregon. Night game, or was it a night game? Yeah, it was a night game. Just a crazy game. And Ole Miss, UCLA, Tulane, Texas, Illinois, Kentucky. There's that. So here's college basketball. So I have written down my preseason predictions, and then at the bottom's after a week, or the last part of it will be after a week of college basketball. So this is my first year really watching college basketball. I watch tournament, I watch that, but this is my first year really paying attention to regular season stats, watching games. For me, it's all about the eye test. It's not about putting up stats. I'm not a big guy on just guys like Russell Westbrook and James Harden who have great stat games, but then they can't win the big game, or just strategically aren't great players. I said Duke only has one guy coming back that had a real role, Jeremy Roach, but they have tons of talent. They'll probably end up being a 3 or 4 seed. They'll be a good team. And then Purdue is going to be insanely overlooked. I mean, they've got their dominant big, Zach Edey, coming back, and good talent coming in. And then James Jenkins Jr., transfer from Utah, is going to be a solid, probably a role player for them. I think Auburn, this is a hot take. Auburn doesn't have another 2-seed season. They have a really rough backcourt. They have an easy schedule, so it's hard to tell for the next couple weeks. And Jabari Smith being gone, I mean, I just don't see them being dominant. And then Michigan's going to struggle. That was my other hot take. Michigan struggles, and that's been shown to be true. They struggled against Eastern Michigan. The only player that dominated was Hunter Dickinson. And that's the only reason why they're in it. He had 30 points. He's probably the second best player in college basketball right now as a college basketball player. And then leading to this, my first best player is Drew Timme. IQ level and fundamentally wise, he is the best player in college basketball. And then Gonzaga also got good recruits coming in that great win against Michigan State out in the Carrier by 1. Michigan State's a good team. I think they'll have a great year and a bad Big Ten this year. Caden, the 5-4 part of the podcast. would like me saying this, but I think they're going to be a 3 or 2 seed. They're going to have a good year. And their only losses will, they have a tough schedule too. Their only losses, I think, will be Gonzaga, and that's it. I think they beat Kentucky and UCLA. And then Notre Dame, that's my team. I think they have an underrated year. I think the ACC is not going to be great this year, and they'll end up being a 7 or 8 seed again, maybe even a 6 seed. They've got a lot of guys coming back, a lot of talent. They had Blake Wesley leave, but they still have all these 6-year guys coming back, 5th-year guys coming back, and they'll have a solid year, I think. Probably ending up in 3rd, probably, in ACC. Might sneak in. Well, you never know. I don't even know why I wrote them down. They're just they're one. I've got a couple teams, and they're one of them. Then Indiana, I think is going to have a solid year. They've got a great system and a better coach. I think they're going to be like a 5 seed, maybe. And that's early prediction. And now this is my after week 1 predictions. Timmy's incredible. That was proven. He wins Player of the Year. Easy. Eastern Michigan will win the MAC. They'll sneak into the tournament and might be a Cinderella caliber team. I mean, Amani Bates proved that he's a star, and all that hate on him, he's a good player, and he showed it against Michigan, a talented Michigan team that I don't think will be too successful, but it's still a Power 5 school that he did that to. So, and TCU's not good, first of all. TCU shouldn't even be ranked. Their offense is abysmal. They have no talent. They're all athletic. And now there's this whole thing in high school sports even that it's all about athleticism. You can be a crazy good athlete that can jump through the roof but can't score. Jump through the roof fast, crazy offensive rebounds, good defender, but the number 1 point of basketball is to put the ball in the hoop. And I think you gotta have a good mixture of it. You can be an insane athlete but not be able to hit the broadside of the barn. You can't make a layup, and TCU showed that. And I don't know why this thing's coming that these guys are just really good athletes and can't really play the game. They're not good shooters, they're not good finishers, or just not fundamentally sound basketball players. And the teams that are most successful are the ones that utilize their players if you look at all these great college teams, Gonzaga, Drew Timme, who I think is going to be 1 player of the year, he's slow, but he's fun. He's slow, can't jump through the roof, 6'9", 6'10", and he plays the big. So he's not tall, but he's fundamentally sound. He can shoot the rock. He's got IQ through the roof, and you can even look back at recent years like Luka Garza. He's same caliber. And that's the difference between college and professional sports. I was just talking about this with my dad. College sports, it's all athleticism, or it's fundamentals, coaching, systems. Even for college football and college basketball, it's systems. It's coaching, basically. And in NFL and NBA, it's all about talent. NBA, you can have the most athletic guys on the court, and look at Giannis. Can't shoot, but he's a freak. John Morant, not a great shooter, freak. Russell Westbrook had his stint, who I think he's overrated personally, but that's another story. And then I also think it's hard to be able to tell for the first few weeks of college basketball. There's going to be these great games like the Gonzaga-Michigan State game. But for now, most teams that are going to be contenders play really bad teams. So we'll really find out more in the future, but for now, we got to just go off the eye test. And TCU's winning right now. They're 2-0, but it's just not pretty. They're not looking great. That's why I think TCU's just not a good squad. But you never know. Next week, we'll have some interesting games. I don't have written down the games for next week, but we'll have a good podcast. We have a story next week too, and I'll have Caden back. But thank you for listening. Short podcast. I told you guys that, And next week we'll have Caden back. So thanks for listening.